recognisable seal of recognition to all members. I think that that's wonderful too. And I'm sure that eventually you're going to be able to take that further. We have at the moment in England people that are actually starting up a different type of accreditation that will be recognised by government, not just by spiritual people, but by the government. And I really do think that we've got to consider this for the future generations, that we get governments on board. Because if we want to move forward to enhance and bring out the very best of spiritual teachings, and also the best of spiritual mediumship, then if we can get these people on board, perhaps then we can sort everything out and start to have a standard of recognition, which is what I believe that Debbie's trying to do, is give you a standard of recognition, rather than you just be in a lonely pocket somewhere, struggling through. But it shouldn't be just that, it should also be that you're more or less, although you remain unique, you will be singing from a similar hymn sheet. You'll always have that uniqueness, because you can't do that, otherwise you'll all become Debbies. And we don't want you to become Debbie, we want you to be yourselves. But we do want that feeling of completeness, where you all understand and speak the same language. And that way then there won't be the difference in teachings that we've had in the past. So that's another reason why I think this is a very good idea. I just love this. We're looking at this, we don't quite understand this, or I don't quite understand this, but I'm sure these must be your different levels that you go on.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
What they are is, excuse me, it's just an award that gets awarded to people depending on how much study they've done, how much service, how much work, how many years experience, and we're hoping that eventually the public will come to recognise these. So if they're really grieving badly, they will look for someone with a recognised logo and seek them out instead of some of the horror stories that we've heard. So that's pretty much that's why it's set up, because of the horror stories that we've heard.
And are these badges?
They're logos that they can put on their website, they can put on their Facebook page, so they can put it next to their name wherever they advertise.
I just wondered whether, like this week, if you'd all had your badges on, I mean, they can look at your label kind of thing, your title, but if you had your badge on, you had a little badge to say that that's what you've done, then people would know when they talk to you that they were talking with, you were talking in an authoritative manner, and that you knew. And so it would be another one. You quite easily miss that bottom line.
Yeah.
You know, so
we have thought about getting little silver brooch badges, so that if anyone from the AAS is servicing church, they're doing a demonstration, they're speaking to people, you could wear that badge. People like Mavis says and be recognised, but we haven't got that organised yet.
It's just a thought, isn't it, for the future, that when you're wearing your badge and people will be drawn to it, then Debbie will know that whatever you're saying to them will be correct because of the teachings you've had. So it actually means that that will then be promoted on. So it's good quality teachings going on. And in the SNU, you know, to pass your exams, at certain phases you can get a badge that says what you've done, like CSNU, OSNU, Minister. That's how I was looking at it, really. So, you know, perhaps that's something that you would be proud to wear as well. Of course, it's being proud of what you've studied and what you've achieved, which is important. You know, it's all right being humble, but you can't be humble so that you're no use. A little bit of pride goes a long way, as long as we don't get egotistical. But proud in our achievements, I think, is right. So that's what I would be looking at there. Would you have a comment there, Jean?
Well, I would just ask perhaps you what you think the benefits are, because that would be the interesting thing for me.
Basically, the support.
Support.
Mentorship.
And you've got access then to a network. Yeah.
The unity, the feeling of that you're part of something that's trying to improve things instead of in a more concise and clear and honest way.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
I think that is extremely important, that togetherness, isn't it?
Yeah.
And particularly when you're training and you're going through your ups and downs, and you will go through them, there's no doubt. And that feeling of support, that's of value. Sorry?
The quality of teaching and knowing it's correct without having to go to somewhere like the UK to get it when you aren't able to.
Yeah.
And of course, eventually, perhaps you will have
On
an old mansion or an old ranch house, and you'll be able to put all your power into that for those future generations, which would be lovely.
We'll loan it to Debbie.
I think transparency for the public, so that mediums are raised in respect, seen as respected.
Yeah, there's an organisation there.
Yes,
Yeah.
and of course that organisation then has to support you. And it's a very difficult one, this, Derek, but it's like if anybody is being threatened with being exposed or being taken to court, they may not be able to cover the fees, but at least you've got the backup there, and they'll be able to support you emotionally, which sometimes you need. And mark my words, that could happen.
Actually, that was one of the things I did like, that Debbie was offering insurance and access to other systems, if you like, that would protect and support.
We're currently getting a barrister on board. He's a again, time to sit down and chat with him. But he's a barrister who is incredibly interested in mediumship, has followed a lot of mediumship throughout his, and knows an awful lot about mediumship, and he's a barrister. So we've chatted to him, and he's happy to come on board as some sort of legal advisor for the AMS as well. There's a lot of cyberbullying that happens and all sorts of things like that. So we're going to chat to him and see what services he can provide for our members if ever they find themselves being attacked online, or numerous other things that can happen, from the outside towards us. So you're well protected, you're well looked after, and we've got insurance sorted for you, and we're looking at grief counselling, an accredited grief counselling course for every AAS medium as well, so that you know how to handle grieving people as well.
For myself, and I presume I can speak for Claire, because we come from New Zealand and we have little pockets of groups within the country, but we've got nothing like this. So I'm hoping that I can take this back to New Zealand and we can be under your umbrella. I think just because the UK is a long way away. So.
It is. I would agree with you. And again, I can't think that that's a bad idea. I certainly think it's a good idea. And if it can be promoted in that way, it would be wonderful. If Debbie wants to feel that that's where she's going to take it worldwide, then it would be wonderful.
If we can be under your umbrella, even while we're in our country, is that what you're proposing? Yeah. So that's great.
I think that's an excellent idea. And I really don't feel that you've all got to be, very good mediums. It's not just mediumship. It's about the knowledge behind the mediumship, really, and how you can speak the philosophy, and how you can talk about clairvoyance and clairsentience and what, with authority. That's what you're going to need. If it's going to expand, it will be your knowledge that people will speak that will need, not necessarily your mediumship. So at the moment, if you're looking at it just from a mediumistic side, I would suggest you open it up a little bit and look at it from the whole. That they see you about, they know they can come to you. What do I do? I've got an earthbound spirit. Well, let me tell you this. And you can go in factually because then you've got this authority behind you. So I think that that's important too. Anyone else?
For myself, I would like to start a church under the AAS so that it brings the credibility back to the church and the mediums and everything else. I feel that our churches have become too lackadaisy with spiritual groups naming themselves as churches and not having the authenticity of what the church is all about. So for me, I would like to start a church under the AAS and give it some credibility again.
And
that
in
sounds
terms of
wonderful to me. Oh,
Yeah.
absolutely wonderful to me. I mean, we've moved away so far, you can't blame people now for thinking we're entertainment,
Yeah.
because that's all that they see now. So that would be wonderful to see the spirituality coming back in, and make room for the people that really feel that they could minister on that level. So I think that's wonderful.
And I was just going to say, in terms of networking then, presumably you could then use other AA members to come and serve the church.
Yeah, I do find that I was going to ask what sort of advice could you have to encourage people to come back to the church, because a lot of developing mediums are more prepared to go out and do performances and stage and everything else, and they're not necessarily wanting to come back into the church because the church has a reputation as such here in Australia. To encourage mediums to come back to the church and work in the church to network, as you said, is going to also be supportive of the community that we're trying to create.
Well, with the church at home, we've got one guy that's actually just taken over a church that was almost closing in the UK. And he really has built up a community. And I don't think it should depend on the mediumship. I think it has to depend on the quality and the knowledge. I'm going back again to this knowledge, that actually we can have the centres, we can do the theatres, but we also know that what we're using the theatre for and the centres for is to promote the churches,
Yes.
not the churches promoting the other way around.
But the success of this particular church is that he's made it a community church. So it's not just going along for a service. Involved in it is a food bank for people that need it, Christmas Day lunch for people that are on their own. He's even started Sunday services where he serves breakfast first to get some people in that wouldn't otherwise go into the church. Because for many, certainly in England, the first point of contact for spiritualism is that they go into a church, because there are over 300 churches, so nearly all the towns have got a church in England. And they do vary in quality, there's no doubt about that. But this one is really buzzing now because it's going out to the people, it's not just being. Because sometimes, because it's seen as a church, if you like, in the eyes of people that have come up through Orthodox religion, it's seen as some place with a hierarchy and with a clique of people, so that you're not welcome there. So I think you should just extend it and welcome everybody in. The best spiritualist churches we go to around the world are those that actually say, you know, everybody come in, join, and they have lots of different activities, not just the mediumship, you know, so it becomes a whole community, if you like. And I do think that actually as an organisation, you've got the basis now of a community that you started in another way. And certainly we know from the mentorships that we run that we could, by linking the people together and getting the members, if you like, to work with one another and invite people to different areas of the country and the world in our case, but obviously in different areas of Australia and New Zealand, then actually that develops the whole community more. And people then want to subscribe to it because they see that it actually does become a friendship group as well as just an organisation. And I think that would be the big benefit of it.
Can I just say something? I'd love to see children back in church. You don't see them, and I know in Deception Bay we used to have an area set up for children, and we used to bring in trainees daycare students to help with them. And then some of the elderly people complained that it was distracting hearing noise, so they stopped them coming altogether. I haven't seen children in church since. It's sad.
Well, we've, in the UK, in the SNU, it's called a lyceum.
Okay.
So what happens is the children only stay on the Sunday service for the address, and then when the demonstration starts, they're taken downstairs,
Yes.
and then they do other things.
Yeah, we used to do that when we were young
Mm.
in the Church of England, but I haven't seen it in a spiritualist church.
Well, you don't, to be honest, very much,
No,
even
no.
in England now.
They're fighting to keep it alive in England.
Okay.
So we know, but that's, I don't mean to, that's our fault, that's my, if you like, my age group's fault, because we haven't tackled that.
Okay.
For me, what I've done is more or less stayed with the SNU, with the college really. So I was at the college so much, but I didn't get involved with the Lyceum. And perhaps there could have been somebody I could have helped with that, but I didn't. All right. So that's the other part of it. Okay?
It's a great document or book if you are interested in involving children. Is the original Lyceum manual, which was produced at the turn of the century really, so it's old English language, but it's actually where, if you like, the Sunday school teacher is actually called the conductor in the Lyceum manual, takes the children through the whole experience of spiritualism, and it's a lovely way to introduce children to it.
Do you know here on the coast there is a lady that does expos, and she does it around having children out of it. Yeah, she deliberately set it up because she wanted the children involved, so that's something else to look at too, the way she does that. She gets people like us to go and work with them and help with
Well,
them.
I would imagine from what you've said there, we're looking at you possibly getting through a good few of these levels, and then Debbie being able to say, well, I'll just hand that over to you, but report to me, so that you then can run with it. Because Debbie can't run with everything. I was just thinking about myself at the college, because I was the senior tutor at the college, and there was no possibility of me doing anything else. So if, you know, Debbie could find someone, once you've gone through one or two of these, then you could take it out. Like with the church, once you've passed these, you've got 2 or 3 people that would like to run a church. Then under that umbrella, but the problem you've got with that is that Debbie needs to keep it as it is. You know, she needs to keep it as it is. It won't work if you get a lot of committees. It just does not work. It breaks down eventually, and there's arguments and dissension. So she has to find a way to actually give each of you an opportunity to do what is right without actually getting unwieldy, because it can become unwieldy, can't it? But for me it sounds as if what you're saying is absolutely wonderful.
What are the networking opportunities within that?
Well, let me just do this. Just recently, probably in the week before I came here, I set up on the back end of the website a membership section. A lot of you probably haven't got your registration yet, but what you have is a password and your username and the password. You'll get into the back end. I'm still yet to set up on there a forum for discussions, so people can pose a question or a problem that they're having, and all our members can discuss with each other and help that out. And I'm going to set up a chat site on the website there as well, so that if you're sitting at home and you're lonely and you want someone spiritual to chat to and you don't want to hop on Facebook, you can just hop on and be within your secure space with your secure group and talk the way we want to talk to each other. So those things are coming. Lots and lots of things are coming, but you know, it's time. Yeah, it's early days and it's time. But we do have a lot of services for you and a lot of support for you all. And I will be looking for people that want to take take on some form of responsibility. If somebody wants to take on a branch in New Zealand and they want to, under the guidelines of the AAS, also help organise things and run things from that end, then I'll be looking for that. And I'll certainly be looking for Catherine to set up the first of the churches in this area. I'm sure there'll be others around the place as well. So there's a lot coming, and we're working as fast as we can to get all that support there for you.
What's amazing really, I'm quite sure, when the droplet of God hit Debbie, she had no idea that this was going to happen.
No idea.
Because it could be like a mushroom. It could mushroom. But I really do feel that because of the respect you're showing Debbie and you're showing each other, I'm convinced that some good can come for Australia, can come out of this. And if you all can stay together, and yes, you will disagree with certain things, but you have to, you know, I do not understand you, but I love you. Mick-san taught me that many years ago, and I wouldn't do what he said. He would say, I do not understand you, Mavis, but I love you. And sometimes you've just got to love people and not fall out with them because they disagree with you. All right. I think this Academy of Spirit Code of Conduct is excellent. I haven't actually done it with a fine-tooth comb, but from what I have glanced at and read, there's some things here that does my heart so much good. Like number 7, a servant to the spirit world. Oh, it does my heart good that, to listen to that. There's one or two things I've seen and I think, oh, good, oh, superb. So, you know, it's just wonderful, okay? And I'm sure she'll tweak it and tweak it again as she goes on, because other things will come in and you'll put other things in, all right? But I think it's good.
And it is something that's, Mavis is the ambassador overseas, or one of the ambassadors overseas, and it is an organisation that we talk about, and it may be, you know, that in the future, once you get your forum up and running, you can use it a bit like the SNUI, where you can invite people like Mavis on to hold a seminar on something, so that you can utilise it like that, which would be good. The SNUI, I don't know whether some of you know, any of you members of that. Yeah. It's a branch of the Spiritualist National Union that's using information technology to communicate with people. And there's some aspects of it very good and some that don't work as well. But I think actually it's worth looking at as a model. Yeah. But again, for something for you to utilise within this country, which I think would be of great benefit. And on there they film services in churches. They have tutors going on giving lectures and fielding questions and so on. And I'm sure that that's another good step forward for you. When you've time.
When I've got time.
I was going to say, do you recommend studying the SNU? You know how we were talking about months ago, Deb. Is that something you must be doing, or stay, because I'm studying with you, is it with the academy this way, is it better, because I don't want to overload myself or confuse myself if I'm learning on one thing kind of.
I would agree with you there, that you can, I was just looking, you know, you can overload. You can overload and get so many different ideas coming in that you can blow your fuses. You know, so even with that, I would say with caution. You know, if Debbie has got the theory as well as the practice going, then possibly that's the only thing you'll need.
And again, like everything else, Mavis hasn't covered trans yet, but she may do tomorrow, but you've got to ask yourself what is the purpose of it. So if you, I mean, the good courses with the SNU, there's no doubt about that. And there are good qualifications, but whether you need those qualifications in Australia, it would be the question for me.
I go to mentoring once a week with Deb anyway, plus everything else, which I feel is right. And every time I've gone to look at the SNU, I look at it and I think that's, I don't know, I can't explain it. Your intuition, I suppose, kind of just says No, I don't think so. Just stay. We're
Yeah,
just,
sure.
just
I mean, to be honest,
focus on
in
what you're doing
England,
and that's
Mavis recommends the SNU for everything because it's a British organisation and it's been Mavis's bedrock. That's where she's come up from. And there's some very good courses, but it's like everything else. That information is available in lots of other places. And really what you're looking at here is starting your own. Not really, you know, being a member of this organisation and then reaching out to another for their qualifications. It's really something that should grow now from within this organisation.
We do recognise any SNU qualifications as part of your levels as well. If you've got those, if you've done an SD1, which is sitting on my office desk waiting to be done. But I don't have time to do that either. But if you do that, then we recognise that and that adds towards it. So we are supportive of the SNU. There's a lady in Perth who we've spoken to who at some stage might come over and give a talk on it if people are interested. But I just want to say that I'm not the only one to do it. If people have ideas, if people have inspiration on what they'd like to add to it, if people want to jump in and do some stuff as well, we're totally open to that. So,
Deb, when you're deciding these for people, do you bring in their practical lives, such as if they're a mother or a therapist or things they've achieved?
We bring in practical, the parts of their lives applicable to their mediumship. At the moment, the only thing we're focusing on is mediumship. We haven't gone into healing yet because I don't know enough about healing. I have to wait till I get someone on board who can handle that side of things and do that. So we're predominantly focusing on mediumship. If you've been raised in a spiritualist family and you've attended spiritual churches since you were 3 years old, then that all adds to your accreditation. The only way we've been able to organise what levels people are at is on a point value system. And we will probably be tweaking it. I'm giving it to Jean right now so that she can go through it with her school teacher eye and add to it if she feels that, because eventually a lot of people, and a lot of people still here, are joining the AAS that I don't have any personal knowledge of their mediumship qualifications or ability. So the only way to do it is for them to give it all to us, and the only fair way is then to award points for all sorts of different things and see where they come in at.
Because I imagine that could be a lot of work for you to try and discern, and some people may or may not.
One person
like
joining the AAS is a lot of work. We have that we have to go through. We have an application form that Nick has to go through, and then we have a questionnaire. If we're still doubtful, we have a questionnaire with a few questions on there that we are interested to see how they answer, like their beliefs on spirit rescue and hauntings and trapped souls and things. If we get the answers from them that say they do believe in that and they sit in rescue circles, it's then a phone call from me personally to that person to discuss it with them. And if I feel that in that discussion they can't let go of those beliefs, they don't come into the AAS.
Right.
So one person joining is a whole process. It's quite a bit of work.
Thanks for that.
So, I mean, obviously it's in its infancy, isn't it? Yeah. But it's a really, really good solid start. With the SNU that's obviously been going for 140 odd years, 50 years, obviously they've developed a scheme for qualification that's verified by various people. So if you're going for platform accreditation, you've got to have so many presidents of church sign your book, and it says, it breaks it down into different aspects of your platform accreditation. So there's all those kind of things to come. And, you know, and as I say, we're mentioning the SNU, but there's lots of other organisations in America and lots of other places, a lot of correspondence courses you can take that, again, are very, very worthy. And that would add to, not detract from this, but really and truly what you've got now is an embryo for Australia. And you really want to be building on this now and building this up. And I guess the wonderful thing is, anybody that's got any background in organisation of things like that, to share their help and support with Debbie and the team, because you know that it would be wonderful to grow that from inside here.
And then of course Debbie's got the opportunity now to actually assess the professionals, so that she is being selective of who she brings over. So you will be seeing the best, because she will select the best to come over. And that again is in your favour, you know, and then perhaps you could have every 2 years a coming together of everybody, like a conference, like a conference. So
We're actually planning a symposium for next year. So we're in the beginning stages of thinking about a symposium.
It's a great idea.
It runs, lots of things run all week.
So I honestly believe that, well, Jean and I wish all of you well, but we really do wish Debbie all the happiness in the world with this, because it is a tall order. She is taking on a massive task, and so as much support as she can get from her, I can't see it would go amiss. And I mean support, not telling her how to do it, but support, because we've got, you know, you can easily get upset when you have a good idea and put it to her, and she says, well, I can't do that, but will you do this for me? You know, it's the support she needs now, if you want to make it grow into something special. But always remember, she's the one that says yes and no. And the reason I'm saying that is, when Gordon, and I'm sorry I keep going back to Gordon Nicholson, but when Gordon was on the earth, when Gordon was on the earth, he actually, if he said no, it didn't matter about the committee, it didn't get done. He really was holding, he was the charismatic person who brought us all together and kept us all together, and he was wonderful. Once Gordon had died, it's got more fractions in it now. There's more fractures in the union than we've ever had in all the years I've belonged to it. And that's because that figurehead has gone. And you have to keep that figurehead for as strong as you possibly can. Keep your figurehead strong. All right. Thank you for listening.
I just want to thank Mavis and Jean. Mavis and Jean are actually international ambassadors of the AAS, so it was a lot of support from them that got it going. So you have a little closer connection to your international ambassadors. So thanks to Mavis and Jean.
I assure you I wouldn't have done it if I didn't think she was right.
Very good.